just wanted to go over the course layout real quick with you guys and make sure you guys understand where everything is at and how to access everything. So once you log into your student portal and you see all your courses there, you're going to go ahead and click on our course. And then here on the side, you'll see a couple of different options. These ones with the I with the slash through it, you guys won't be able to see, but you will be able to see modules, grades, McGraw-Hill, Connect, chat, Google Drive, and so forth. So the most important is going to be this one here with the modules. You're going to click on that. Similar to how other courses are set up, the first folder is going to be the course resources, and within that folder you're going to see kind of an explanation of the course as a whole, questions and answers, course introductions, the syllabus, and then a Connect registration tutorial that explains to you how to register for McGraw-Hill and so forth. So after the first week, you might not need these resources, so you can go ahead and click on that triangle to minimize it. And anytime if you need to see it again, you can click on that triangle and it'll open that folder back up where you can see each item. Now, similar to other courses, your weeks are going to be organized into learning units. So learning unit 1 is going to cover week 1, and this is all of the assignments that we're going to do in week 1, right? And then learning unit 2 covers what we're going to do in week 2, and these are the assignments we will do in week 2, and so forth. So learning unit 3 down here is a little bit more, just because we start writing our essay. The first 2 weeks we're going to be going over a topic and then we're going to be outlining, but the third week is when we actually start to write the essay and continue to work on it for the rest of the course. So that's why week 3 is a little bit more busy. And we also have mid-course feedback, which is where I do a one-on-one with each of you and we go over your grade and any missing items and things of that nature, right? If you have any questions about the class that you want to ask, during the one-on-one is typically a good time if you're too shy to ask about that in front of classmates. So week 4 correlates with the learning unit 4, and you can see here these are the items that we cover. And then the last week is going to be week 5, which we cover everything in learning unit 5. So it's important to note that all assignments are due on Sundays at midnight of that week. So I'll zoom in here so you guys can see this a little bit better. So week 1 will be due by Sunday, October 25th at midnight. Week 2 is due November 1st by midnight. Week 3 is November 8th by midnight. And week 4 is November 15th by midnight. And then week 5 is a little bit different. So instead of it being on Sunday, it's actually Thursday night, right? So Thursday, November 19th, I believe it is, by midnight. So, and the reason for that is because I believe y'all's access to the course ends Thursday night at midnight, because our grades are due Saturday morning, right? Because the following Monday is when courses start for the next semester. So that's why the 5th week is always a little bit shorter, but I'll remind you as the semester goes on. Just remember that every Sunday all of your assignments are due, and then the 5th week it's on a Thursday instead. I will send you this outline with the due dates so that you guys are tracking. Now, in the course, in the modules, right, there was 4 things. There's an overview, there's the discussion board, and there's the assignment, right? And then the topic for the, for the whole paper. Now, in McGraw-Hill, there's also some extra stuff in there that we need to do as well. So I've listed it here so that you guys can see exactly what is due each week. So week 1 is a bit smaller, but you can see in week 2 it's a bit longer, and week 3 the same thing, right? But you guys will see everything. So now when you're in the course, right, and you click on McGraw-Hill Connect, then you're going to click on Go to My Section, and it is super zoomed out. There we go. Alright, so this is what it's going to look like when you click into McGraw-Hill, right? So here is your e-textbook. And I'm going to open this in another tab, and I'll go over the textbook with you guys in a second. And here, instead of it being organized by learning unit, it just straight up tells you what week it's for. So week 1, the only thing that you have in there is this foundational success test. Now, please take your time and do this pre-test first, because what happens is if you take this pre-test and you get an 85 or above, you do not have to take this foundational test. What it is it's trying to test and make sure what level you're at. As long as you're at the appropriate level, then you don't need to take this foundational success test, right? This foundational test is very long, right? So that's why I encourage you to take your time and go slowly through the pre-test, because even if you go at a snail's pace, you'll definitely spend less time than if you were to have to do both tests. So I really encourage you to take your time on the pre-test before you move on. That way, hopefully you'll do well enough and you won't even have to take this. Okay. So after week 1, you'll see week 2 and week 3 and 4 are all split up into 2 different sections, right? You'll see readings and lectures, assignments, readings and lectures, assignments, and so forth. So these are going to be videos that we will watch in class that kind of go over different topics that we're covering. And then these assignments are the ones that you'll need to actually go through and do, okay? So you don't have to worry about carrying over any of your grades or anything. It will do that automatically. So you don't have to worry about that. So when you come into McGraw-Hill, I want you for this week just to do the pre-test. And if you get below an 85, go ahead and start chipping away at the foundational success test. Then next week, you can ignore the readings and lectures, because typically I include these items into my lecture. So you don't have to worry about those, but worry about the assignments, okay? But if you ever have questions and wanted to go back and relive some of the lectures, you will have access to it here, right? Same thing for the following weeks, right? For week 3, you have access to the different readings and lectures that I include in my lecture, but you don't have to read these or do these unless you want to, as I've already covered them in the lecture, okay? And then week 5 also has readings and lectures, as well as week 4. So now if we go to the book, it's going to take it a minute to load. Alrighty. Alright, so an ebook is a little bit different than a physical book. Okay, it has a lot of benefits and it has some cons. So the cons are that it's not something physical that you can carry with you, and sometimes, sometimes that's easier for people to use. I prefer a physical book if I'm reading for fun, but textbook I really do prefer. an electronic book just because there's so many benefits to it. And one of them is that you can change the text size to fit your needs, right? Say it's hard for you to read certain text. You don't get that opportunity in a physical book, but in an ebook you do. So I'm going to put this back down. And some other options are that you can search the textbook. Now, say you're covering and you're writing a paper about something, say about communication, right? And now you can search the whole textbook without having to go to the glossary and find those pages and all types of stuff, right? Now you can see there's 34 results for communication, right? And I could go to any of these and click on it, and it's going to take me right to that page. And I could be like, okay, this isn't the one that I was looking for. I'm going to go to this one. And then I'll look at it and be like, okay, I think that's the right one that I was looking for. Okay. So there's a lot of different benefits such as that. Another benefit is that you can highlight, right? As soon as I clicked and I highlighted a section, this menu will pop up, right? So you can have it read the section out loud to you. You can add a note, say on test, right? And then hit save. And then you can also put a bookmark in here. You can do all types of stuff, right? So I can highlight this again, and I can add annotation circle, right? It'll circle the section that I just did. And I can add annotation highlight. There you go. So now I can highlight it. And then when I'm flipping through the book, it makes it a lot easier to remember my notes, right? And I didn't hit save, so that probably would have been useful. Let me see. Oh, I did. Okay. Alrighty. I just was farther down on the page than I had realized. Alright, so we can see it here, right? Then there's a couple other options. There's also a digital table of contents. So if you're looking for different English topics that kind of fit with your degree, this book is kind of organized different. So here they have a whole chapter on human rights and social justice. They have one on work. They have one on the environment, poverty, health, culture, relationships, education, ethics, citizenship, violence, and then they have a brief overview of the book as a whole, and so forth. And then I can click here and I can look at the different things that I've highlighted. This is also a huge plus, because what typically happens if you highlight a physical book or take notes, you have to make sure you keep all your notes in the same place. And if you're like me and you like notebooks and pens and different things like that, you could end up with repeating the same writing. You could be spending more time trying to write down something that's already written out in the book, and so forth, right? So this provides you a way that you can export it and you can print the list of your notes and the different things that you've highlighted. And here you can click on the notes that you've made, see how it says here on test. So if your teacher in any class where you have an electronic book points out something that's important that should be on a test, make sure that you highlight that. Even if you're just highlighting the page number or something, make a note to yourself to make sure that you put, this is on the test or quiz, or this is useful in this assignment, or whatever the case may be. That way you can make sure that you don't miss that one on the test or on the assignment. And then here, this goes to the bookmarks or place marks that we put in place. Here I dropped one here. at the 42, so you can see it right there. And if I had more, they would all be here. Now, another option to the electronic book is that you can erase highlights, right? So close. All right, so how you erase it would be just to pretty much click and undo what you did, right? So I'm going to remove the highlight, and I am going to click here and remove place mark. Click here, and I'm going to delete the note, and click here to remove. Let me see what else I have. I think it's just this one. Yeah. So see how it says yellow enabled? That tells me that there's a tiny yellow line that's circling this, and I want to go over here to remove the annotation circle. So I'm going to click X, and let's see. I don't think I have anything else. Let's see. Place mark. All right, and so now that everything is removed, you can see that it's completely clear, and I can check it because here it shows I don't have any notes created yet, I don't have any placed markers yet, and it deleted that specific highlight. Okay, so that is how to use our book and how to navigate through McGraw-Hill, as well as how to navigate through the course.